So your HR department did its job. It posted a job opportunity with your company and gathered applications. Then, after filtering through them and narrowing it down to a few, the interviews began. And you made your choice. The offer was accepted. You have a new employee. Your work is over. It's done. Or is it? Well, one extremely important task that might not get the attention it needs is the company onboarding process. Your new employee is not going to be effective until they're worked into company culture and are up to speed on how things operate at your company. And that's what we're going to talk about today as I welcome Chuck Violand, the founder of Violand Management Associates. Hello, Chuck.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hope you are as well.
I am.
We're going to talk about onboarding. And
Yep.
Chuck, I know in your book, uh, chapter 6 of
Yep.
Forging Dynasty Businesses, it has some great points. You ready to talk about them?
I am. As we mentioned in the book, onboarding was traditionally treated as a 1 or 2 day orientation where the new hire signs paperwork, learns when paydays are, and is assigned to the person who's going to be training them. And that's about it. And sometimes that was a lot even compared to what it is now. Sometimes it was much shorter. In today's workplace, it goes well beyond that, both in terms of time involved and also depth of the content. It's as much about becoming familiar with the culture of the company and where the company's headed as it does with knowing what to wear to work. It's as much about conversations with the new hire as it is a lecture from the person doing the training. Actually, it's much more about a conversation with the person, with the new hire.
Well, Chuck, I did want to point out one specific sentence that I found interesting. It says this in your book in chapter 6. Companies that are growing and adding new employees are at risk of losing what makes them exceptional. Well, that's bad news because we always need new employees. But tell us what you meant by that.
Yeah, that can sound like that, can it? But that's not really what we mean. Although it is a caution, because this can happen on a couple different fronts, a couple different levels, Jeff. On the technical level, it means that the quality of our work and our attention to detail that make us exceptional can get watered down, either because we don't take the time to cover them, or because they're being taught by a second or third generation trainer who might not have learned them in the first place. But on a different level, and from a company culture perspective, it means that the new hire may have very limited time with the owner, sometimes none at all. But it can also be the result of the natural changes that a company's culture can experience as a result of the company's growth and adding more people and more complexity.
Well, you explained it nicely. No reason to panic. We all need new employees, but that's a good plan. Another thing, Chuck, I enjoyed was your what not to do section of this chapter, and you shared a story there. Tell us about that and how this can help our audience.
Yeah. Yeah, those are quite some stories. And they're real life stories too, Jeff. Unfortunately. Actually they'd be funny if we didn't see them happen so often. One of them, the first one, was one of my early clients. And I was meeting with a bunch of foremen and supervisors of a construction company, asking them about their first day on the job. And they were relating stories about how they had no idea who they were reporting to. All they knew was that they were supposed to be there, and they stood up against the wall of the building so that they didn't get run over by the trucks that were leaving the yard at the time. Fortunately, though, with this company, it had an enlightened owner, and he changed things, and they were still there after many years. The second was a more recent experience with a client. And this was an owner who really botched the job of onboarding. The new hire was on board for like 3 days. And the owner had something come up out of town that he felt he needed to be at. So he let the new hire know early in the morning, look, I can't be here today. So here's some brochures. Why don't you go out and make some sales calls with these? Now, this was a technician that he hired. Well, naturally, the guy left. And before he got too far down the road, he got a text from the new hire saying, I left my keys on the desk. This isn't for me. And he left. And unfortunately, that's more common than you might imagine.
Yeah, I've heard that type of thing happening, and I can't believe it when I hear it, Chuck. Someone works hard to get a job. They're on the job for a couple days, and then, nope, not for me.
It's crazy. It's
It
crazy.
has to be more than just our industry. It has to be.
Oh yeah. Oh, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the stories. Now let's go beyond stories. Let's assume that those watching our program today need help with the onboarding process. They're realizing it's not a quick 1, 2, or 3 day task. What are some good strategies that you would share with them?
Yeah, in the book, Jeff, we have a couple pretty good checklists that the readers can use. So I'm not going to go into detail on those. But overall, what I would suggest is that the viewers take a longer view of the onboarding process. Think in terms of 30 days, 90 days, maybe even 6 months. This encourages you to stay involved with the new employee. Not constantly. I mean, we've got a business to run, but checking in occasionally to see how they're doing. I would also suggest that you circle back after maybe 6 or 9 months and check in with them and just see how they're doing. Ask what they found helpful about the onboarding and ask them for any suggestions they might offer to change the onboarding. I would also suggest making it a collaborative effort. Involve as many people in the organization as you can, within reason, obviously, in the onboarding process. And then ask the person that you're onboarding, the new hire, ask for their input on how they're doing through the process and how they're feeling the value that they think they're getting from it.
Chuck, thank you. Onboarding, it seems like that should be a very short time period. You mentioned check-ins up to 9 months later. So obviously, a lot of thought has to go into this and some planning, maybe some calendar reminders as well.
Well, that'd be great. That's
Yeah.
that's always good. And
Don't
Jeff,
want
one
to
of the
forget.
reasons, one of the reasons that we look at doing it that far down the line is that some of the things that you learn, that a new hire learns about the company, particularly as it relates to the culture of the company, they have to be lived. They have to be experienced rather than just taught. Sometimes it takes that long for them to reflect back on it and go, you know what? This was helpful. This wasn't.
Maybe if employees knew that they were going to be checked in on over time, that might help
Oh,
them not leave those keys on the desk after day 3. I don't know.
it might.
All right. Let's talk about tracking results and what business owners and managers can analyze during this entire process. Is there any information you can share on that?
A couple basic things here, Jeff, and really the metrics are pretty straightforward. Okay, you look at employee turnover, employee job satisfaction, and then retention. I mean, those are obvious, easy ones. You can also track how quickly a new hire becomes productive in the workplace. If they enjoy what they're doing, if they're engaged, they're going to be productive sooner. But perhaps one of the most important metrics is the amount of time and the effort that the owner gives to the onboarding process. When they're engaged, when they're involved in it, it's amazing the impact that has on a new hire getting up to speed.
All right, Chuck, the final part of this segment. Any parting words of advice?
Yeah, I think it's from perspective too, Jeff. It's important. My feeling is that it's important to reframe the onboarding process from both the time length, but also from the depth of the content perspective. Onboarding is not about a quick once and done event, not anymore. It's an ongoing process that includes both the legal and technical aspects of the job, but also the cultural elements of the job, of the company. And some of those things, as I just mentioned, they have to be experienced more than just taught.